the judge lacked legal authority to make that order. Checking your money, the Dow closed down 349 points and Nasdaq up 15. Traffic and weather next.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed
Interesting.
flour. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those working days. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
For quite a few years now, the prevailing wisdom has been 10,000 steps a day is a good number to shoot for. But unless you live in a big city and don't own a car, that's probably a hard number to hit. The good news is more recent research has found that you can get significant health benefits with far less than 1,000 steps. This latest study out of Spain found that increasing your daily step count, whatever it is right now, increasing it by just 1,000 steps can reduce your risk of depression. Look, step count is a nice proxy for physical activity, which has been consistently shown to have beneficial effects on depression. In other words, it's not necessarily the steps that matter, but just your ability to get moving. So yes, it can be a walk, but it can also be a bike ride, swimming, yoga, weight training. If it feels good, you're more likely to keep at it. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
In Chantilly, there is still crash activity on southbound 28 at Willard Road, so watch out for delays there. Earlier accidents on 95 southbound at the Virginia 644 exit. The Springfield Franconia exit moved to the shoulder, but traffic is still slow from the Beltway. Delays continue southbound from Lorton towards Woodbridge and some slowing from Dale City towards Garrison Villaquia. Still a slow go on the Beltway inner loop between Old Georgetown Road and University Boulevard. Delays through College Park as well. And the outer loop is heavy from Van Dorn Street to the Wilson Bridge and some delays through Fairfax between 66 and 236. In Spotsylvania, some flooding conditions reported now on northbound Route 1 at North Point Drive, so use extra caution in that area. Now for GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch Storm Forecast.
We'll see skies gradually clear later tonight with lots of sunshine tomorrow, mid-40s to around 50, wind gusts of 30 miles per hour. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 46 in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin. Contact with Arena Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You know, I've got a lot of very important information here. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled you're there. And the president had a wonderful news conference with Benjamin Netanyahu. There was news broken there. We have more discussion about tariffs. I hope you were able to watch my shows on Saturday and Sunday where I laid it out in both monologues, as I have here. Well, in the end, this is going to be a good thing. Not tariffs per se, but his whole package. And now we see over 50 countries have contacted the United States to try and work out some kind of deal. And you know, here's the thing. By the time President Trump is done, we may have a situation where most of the industrialized world is not tariffing each other. That's a pretty damn good thing, too. But I've gotten tremendous feedback from my opening statements on Saturday and Sunday on Fox, as well as here, people wanting copies. So we post them on social media. And if you want to check them out, they are there. But before I get into some of these heavy issues, and I do want to get into them, there's something here I want to take a look at. Where did I put the damn thing? Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It's not there. All right, it is mislabeled, I'm afraid. It is the Gateway Pundit on what's going on in the Islamic megacity near Dallas, Mr. Riddick. And let me see. Maybe it's this one. No, we'll see if we can find it. But I want to get into this a little bit. We can talk about it later as well. That is during the course of the week. Because outside of Plano, Texas, and maybe it's in the edge of Plano, Texas, some Islamists have bought hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, and they intend to make an Islamic city. Let me know if you ever find it, Rich. Okay, here we go. There we go. Thank you, buddy. So I want to read this to you. No, it's the same one. Islamists found guilty of targeting U.S. churches is what you keep sending me here. I don't know why we're not getting that. You know what? I'm going to move on. Once we figure it out, we'll figure it out. I'm definitely going to hit this subject, but we're getting the wrong. You got to look at the link, not just the title. All right, let's start here. Netanyahu in the Oval Office today with President Trump. This is the breaking news, I think, certainly in some respects. Let's go. Cut one, go.
And of course, we also discussed Iran. Look, we're both united in the goal that Iran does not ever get nuclear weapons. If it could be done diplomatically in a full way, the way it was done in Libya, I think that would be a good thing. But whatever happens, we have to make sure that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. That's the end of my speech.
We're having direct talks with. Wait. We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. We hope that's going to happen.
Here's what I don't understand. Why does anybody think it's going to happen? Why does anybody think that they're not going to lie and cheat? This is what they've done for over a decade. And they've even done it to the United Nations, their buddies. I don't understand why we think they're going to change their stripes or their spots, whichever. These are Islamo-Nazi terrorists. They have invested an enormous amount of effort into building nuclear weapons. And one warhead can blow one city off the face of the earth in this country. And that's the truth. and they're very good at rope-a-dope. Now, I've heard it's being said, Mr. Levin is trying to draw America into a war. Have you heard that, Mr. Producer? I'm being singled out. Mark Levin wants to draw America into a war. No, I want to save America from nuclear annihilation. I don't believe in drawing people into wars and so forth. I believe in prudence looking at this. You've got freaks and fools and reprobates out there who are even today posting about we can't afford to go to war with Iran. We'll lose God knows how many, especially because of the terror. These are propagandists. These are morons. They're ideologues. I'm not any of these things. I'm a realist. And it's funny, the people who push this crap claim that they believe in a realist foreign policy. What's realist about Iran getting nuclear weapons and then pretending they can't blackmail us and threaten us and seek their 72 virgins by blowing, say, LA or New York or Chicago or Philadelphia or Detroit off the face of the earth? I don't get it. In the last 100 years, 100 million people have been sacrificed to various ideologies. Marxism, Hitlerism, Islamism, 100 million people. Are we so conceited that we think that we're in the United States, there's two oceans, and they dare not attack us because they may get blown off the face of the earth? Has it ever occurred to anybody that maybe that's the way they want to go out? I mean, seriously, folks, you have an Islamo-Nazi regime that has been backing terrorism for over half a century, that has been killing Americans, maiming Americans for over half a century, that has backed terrorist organizations, that has been killing and maiming Americans, that has sought to assassinate our president, former Secretary of State, former National Security Advisor, and others. And you and I are supposed to sit here dumbfounded, like it's not possible that they might launch a nuclear missile to hit us. I'm not willing to take that chance. And that's why I speak out. It's not a matter of dragging America into war. If this were to happen, the truth is the brunt of the battle would be on Israel. It would be on Israel, not on the United States. They're right there in the neighborhood. They would probably have to carry out much of the attack. Their people are in harm's way. Right now, we're not. The Iranians have no way of reaching us right now. So this talk about trying to drag America into a war is disgusting. And I'm sick and tired of the anti-Semites hiding behind these different bromides and shibboleths and they pretend they're pro-American. How can you be pro-American if you think it's okay for the Islamo-Nazi regime in Tehran to have a nuclear weapon? How can you be pro-American? They want to destroy the West, and they keep talking about us. They're little Hitler youth in the streets. They're burning more American flags than they are Israeli flags. I'm sick and tired of this double life some of these commentators live, where they pretend they're pro-American, America first, when they seem to be Iran first, Qatar first, Russia first, Communist China first. Am I missing something, Mr. Producer? No, I don't think so. Russia is a fascistic regime with imperial desires. Communist China is our greatest threat. It is a Maoist regime with a massive military now. You don't build a massive military just because you want to sit around and pick your nose. No. You don't build a massive military because you want to invade an island nation right off your coast. No. You don't need hypersonic missiles, killer satellites, 350 Navy ships, nuclear subs, aircraft carriers, and on and on and on to beat Taiwan. You just don't. And nobody's bothering Iran. The only reason Iran gets hit is as a counterattack. Nobody's seeking any territorial gain over Iran. Nobody's doing anything to Iran. Iran is doing everything to everybody else. Look what it's done to the people of Yemen. Look what it's done to the people of Lebanon. Look what it's done to the people in Gaza. Look what it's done to the people in Israel. Look what it's doing to the people in Iraq. And you and I are supposed to sit here with our thumb up our nose and pretend if we notice this, and if this regime is desperately trying to get nuclear weapons, keeps threatening the United States, that we're supposed to sit here and say, no, that's not true. And if somebody notices it and has a big platform and says they cannot get this weapon, that Levin's trying to drag us into a war, not the Islamo-Nazis, not the terrorists, not the enemy, me. I'm trying to drag us into a war. Let me tell you something. It's not a matter of me dragging anybody into anything. We have enemies. They are evil. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. People who run around with the dumbest of labels and the fortune cookie mindset about never wars and all that, that's all well and good. If you're trying to get clicks and subscriptions and all the rest of it, that's fantastic. But when you're looking down the barrel of the enemy's gun, it is what it is. Donald Trump understands this. He says Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. Why does he say that? He doesn't say it about anybody else. Why does he say that about Iran? Because he knows that they're terrorists. And he knows that they're capable of using these weapons. And he certainly doesn't want it to happen on his watch. What does he know that these reprobates don't know? What do I know that they don't know? The answer is they're ideologues. They've been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed by the Soroses and the Kochs. They've been brainwashed by the isolationists. They've been brainwashed. They've persuaded themselves into the stupidity of their position. And many of them, simply put, are Jew haters. Not everybody who opposes, but some of the biggest mouths definitely are. Definitely are. But this isn't even about Jews. It's bigger than Israel. A hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead is not intended for the neighborhood. And it just so happens, as President Trump knows, we don't have an iron shield. It was Reagan's idea. The Israelis ran with it. We did not. Thank you, Democrats, as usual. We have no protection against an intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead. The Israelis do, because they took the idea and they ran with it. And by the way, they've given us their technology, their advanced technology. If we are to build an Iron Dome, we can thank these. What do we get from Israel? Well, that's one of the things we're going to get from Israel. But again, that aside, President Trump has made clear he's no neocon. He's no warmonger. He's made abundantly clear they cannot have a nuclear weapon. I don't care what the Lilliputians think. Scratching at his door, knocking at his door, trying to get little meetings with him, putting stuff on social media to draw attention to themselves and to their issue. We know who these pukes are. We know who they are. They do not have America's interest, not at all. First, second, or anywhere on the list. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Did you know?
So Some delays on 270 northbound between Shady Grove Road and Middlebrook Road, and from 121 heading towards 109. In Rockville, there is an accident on eastbound West Booty Drive at Picard Drive. In Chantilly, still the crash southbound on 28 at Willard Road. And in Spotsylvania, watch out for flooding conditions northbound on Route 1 at North Point Drive. Still also go on the Beltway Interloop headed from Old Georgetown Road to University Boulevard. Some slowing in towards College Park. An accident on the Interloop at Connecticut Avenue moved to the shoulder. Outer loop, though, is still heavy from the Eisenhower Avenue connector to the Wilson Bridge. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Store Watch and Forecast.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
Hi, I'm Vince Colonnese, host of The Vince Podcast. It's a show with an obsessive focus on what's good for America. I'm bringing you the truth beneath the headlines of all of the nation's top stories. We feature news-making interviews with the top guests on the whole planet. And I'll ask the questions you only dream of other interviewers asking. Do you like being informed, engaged, and entertained? Good. You are going to love Vince.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That was made right here in America by the good folks at Allegiance Flag Supply. That's the first thought that crosses my mind when I see that beautiful hand-sewed American flag flying on the outside of my home. Friends, there's no better way to show your love of country, love for our troops, love of freedom than flying your American flag. But don't get a cheap, flimsy flag, one that's made overseas. Get an Allegiance flag. It tells a story. It was handcrafted in Charleston, South Carolina. All the components, from the flagpole to the spinners and the mounts, were sourced right here in the United States. An Allegiance flag shows support for your country and support for the hardworking men and women who make this country great. I encourage you to visit showallegiance.com. Experience the difference of a real American-made flag. Again, go to showallegiance.com. You'll save $35 off your complete flag set. That's showallegiance.com for American flags made the American way.
Mark. Making sense of your world.
I agree with everything you're saying.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart just breaks for what's going on.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the markets. Because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
You know, folks, I'm going to step back a little bit. You're incredibly smart in this audience. You wouldn't be here. You'd be somewhere else. Let's forget the name Iran, the United States, whatever. Let's pretend we're in grade school again. Somebody had the ability. Well, let's do it this way. If somebody had the ability to blow up your house and kept saying they would, and they're making a bomb to do it, They're not that far away from doing it, that is, building it. If you have somebody who says, you better stop them before they actually do what they say they're going to do, and you have somebody who says, oh, they'll never do it, don't worry about it, who are you going to listen to, Mr. Producer? Exactly. I mean, how stupid are these people? How moronic are these people? And they're very isolated, too. They don't engage. They don't want to debate. It's a whole other thing. We'll be right back. Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless that comes with a lot of fine print, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines plus activation fees. And the end of the day, you paid for that free phone 3 times over. Pure Talk is my sponsor, my wireless company. They have a much better offer. With a qualifying plan of just $35 a month, you can get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. All you need to do is switch to Pure Talk. For just $35 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, more than you'll ever need, with mobile hotspot, all on one of America's most dependable 5G networks. Dial pound 250, say keyword Mark Levin, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you switch in as little as 10 minutes. That's pound 250, say Mark Levin, for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan from Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans, for Americans.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. President Trump doubling down on tariffs after another tumultuous day on Wall Street, and warnings from world leaders and others that tariffs could cause a recession and global trade war. When asked whether he'll consider a pause to allow time for negotiations.
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us.
He says there will be fair deals. The Dow closed down 349 points. The NASDAQ finished up 15. Hours ahead of a midnight deadline, the Maryland House and Senate passed the final version of the state budget, which closes a $3 billion budget gap with about $2 billion in cuts and $1.6 billion in tax and fee hikes. The tax hikes include a controversial 3% tax on IT services, including web hosting and data storage paid for by businesses. Traffic and weather next.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
What do you think of working with the SEALs? We went out every night going after bad guys. I was humbled.
There was no going back home. I would be in another room crying because I was afraid to go to sleep because of what was coming for me in the middle of the night. How long did it take you to be able to talk about? A long time. But I realized my experiences may help other people too. The men like yourself are considered legends in the community.
You're right. The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Bright Focus Foundation's Alzheimer's disease research program is paving the way for a cure. Learn about symptoms, diagnosis, and breakthrough research at brightfocus.org or call us at 1-855-345-6237 for free resources.
You can afford anything, but not everything.
Being poor sucks.
You especially cannot afford to miss the Afford Anything podcast, hosted by Paula Pant.
Isn't this obvious?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
Hi, I'm Vince Colonnese, host of The Vince Podcast. It's a show with an obsessive focus on what's good for America. I'm bringing you the truth beneath the headlines of all of the nation's top stories. We feature news-making interviews with the top guests on the whole planet. And I'll ask the questions you only dream of other interviewers asking. Do you like being informed, engaged, and entertained? Good. You are going to love Vince.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with all service members and their families. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil. I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret. There are too many of us that we're waiting for someday, and the clock is ticking. Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
Make sense of this wild, chaotic, and beautiful world and your place in it. That is women's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with you 100%.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
There's a lot of us out there.
Making sense of the news.
Show. This is the home of the July 4th Americans. And you can call at 877-381-3811.
You know, this isn't getting the kind of national attention it deserves, so will now. We had a caller who first brought my attention to this a week or two ago, right, Rich? I think. And very good articles at the Gateway Pundit on this the other day. So I want to dig into this. 1 second. Hold on. You wouldn't believe who texts me in the middle of the show. Okay, here we go. Retired police lieutenant drops major bombshell about planned Islamic mega city near Dallas, Texas. Now, see, the reason you're not allowed to discuss this, ladies and gentlemen, is because it involves a Muslim mega center. See what I'm saying? So you go, uh-oh, this is a hot one. It's the third rail. Don't touch it. No, I'm going to touch it. And let me just say this. This is something that needs to go viral. Absolutely needs to go viral. This is by Mike LaChance. I'm taking a LaChance on LaChance. No, I'm just kidding. It's the Gateway Pundit recently reporting an Islamic megacity that is Sharia law compliant. Well, let's stop right there. A city in America, Sharia law compliant. This is like all these areas in and around Paris, France. They're creating their own cities. No assimilation. Period. No assimilation at all. Now, we have immigration. The whole point of immigration is assimilation and to benefit the people who already live here. There must never be anything like an Islamic mega city that is Sharia law compliant. You are compliant with American law. That's it. Case closed. It's being promoted near Dallas, Texas. Near Plano, to be specific. Okay, just bear with me. Bear with me, I'm going through this. All right, that's good. There are a lot of red flags around the project, so much so that Texas Governor Greg Abbott has been speaking out about it. Okay? Now there's a video of a retired police lieutenant who is a recognized expert in SWAT activity. He's speaking about some of his findings on it too. It's very serious. Via twitchy and explosive public testimony, Deaton, this is the retired police lieutenant, warned Texas officials that this wasn't some future plan. It's already happening. It's already happening. And worse, it's being replicated on a massive scale just outside of Dallas. Here's what he exposed. You ready, America? 74 homes sold only to Muslims affiliated with Epic. A massive mega mosque anchoring the enclave. Sharia-adherent Islamic schools enforcing religious doctrine. UIF Corporation offering only Sharia-compliant financial services. You follow all this? A fortress-like home built beside the Plano Police Academy, overlooking SWAT vehicles, bomb trucks, tactical zones. They got the maps for all this. The owner, a senior Epic leader and co-founder of the controversial Yankee Institute, a group that openly advocates Sharia in the West. The retired Lieutenant Douglas Deaton said, I urge everyone to visit their website and see for yourself what they say about instituting Sharia. This is not about radicals hiding in plain sight. They're not hiding. They've been open about their beliefs and their intent. Plano was phase 1. Epic City is phase 2. Now, Mr. Producer, let's go ahead and put this Gateway Pundit link on all the social sites and encourage people with the headline that says, just check this out, exclamation mark. It's called Epic City. The entire city has been built with no building permits. And Abbott says they talk about doing all this building, but they don't have any building permits to actually do any building. And Texas is investigating Epic City for many allegations. The Texas Rangers have opened up a criminal investigation. Sharia law is not allowed in Texas, the governor said. People who come to the United States need to assimilate. We do not need or want miniature countries within the country. Now, this can't stand because if this starts, then it's going to have a precedential value, and you're going to see as it triggers other such efforts. So they're planning an Islamic mega city. Really, it's in part of Plano. They bought over 400, almost 500 acres with this massive Islamic center, East Plano. You know, if the governor there was Josh Shapiro, who's the governor of Pennsylvania, and I understand from the media that he's Jewish, he'd be giving them $5 million. He just gave $5 million to a Islamic community center, but it's fighting more or less than an imam who was spoken Jew hatred. But hey, it's a one-off, I'm sure. And Josh Shapiro's Jewish, so he can do whatever he wants with respect to giving $5 million to an Islamic center that invites guests like that. The people of Pennsylvania, you should wish you had a governor like Abbott. So they're digging into this, and we're going to take a look at this. We're going to keep an eye on this very closely. Because I'm telling you now, this is the beginning of the end. If they get away with this, these Islamists, these radicals, not Muslims, Islamics, radicals, they get away with this, they're going to get away with a lot more of it. I'm sure the people of Plano are thrilled. And you know, your mainstream Muslims detest this too. We've had Zudi Jasser. You know what, Mr. Producer? See if we can get Zudi Jasser on tonight. I want to ask him about this. We'll try and get him. If we can't get him tonight, we'll get him this week. Because we need to dig into this. I need to dig into this myself. And we're going to make it one of the issues that I focus on a lot. Because the consequences of something like this are just, they're devastating. Absolutely devastating. And again, I'm sure if they were to build this outside of Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, maybe pick Reading, who knows, Sacramento, where else? Any of the little towns, Scranton, I guess. Sure, they'd be welcome, right? See, so the way the media will twist this is discrimination against Muslims. There's nothing to do with discrimination against Muslims. A Sharia law compliant, massive Islamic center that requires people who apply to go through the Islamic financial process. They will only accept not just Muslims, but certain types of Muslims, and are not complying at all with the building codes because they don't believe they have to. I mean, after all, it's a Sharia compliant community that they're building. That's intolerable. Absolutely intolerable. You know, we pride ourselves in this country, at least in the last half century or more, in integration, integrating communities, integrating people with diverse backgrounds. We pride ourselves on this. But there are places in the world, and there are ideologies in the world that reject that. They insist on segregation. So to come into the United States and to try and create, in one of the great cities and one of the great states in America, an Islamic city, a mega city they call it, with Islamic compliant, Sharia compliant law, and all the rules and all the rest of it that they go through have to be Sharia adherent as well. Sharia adherent Islamic schools that enforce, the worst kind of doctrines that the Israelis are having to deal with in parts of the world. That they've already sold 74 homes that have not gone through the building code. That they use Sharia compliant financial services. A fortress-like home built beside the Plano Police Academy overlooking the SWAT vehicles, bomb trucks, tactical zones. It's all intentional. And the owner, the co-founder, controversial Yankee Institute, it's a group that openly advocates Sharia imposed on the West. Think about that. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
With spring here, now's the perfect time to upgrade your home with a new deck or fence from Fletcher. Enjoy barbecues and relaxing afternoons on your beautiful new deck. Plus the safety and privacy a great fence provide. Call Fletcher this week to lock in big savings. Just mention me, Chris, and you're going to get an extra 20% off your new Fletcher deck or fence. Don't wait, though. Contact Fletcher now for 20% off. Visit FletcherDecks.com. That's FletcherDecks.com.
Traffic still slow on 395 northbound from 110 to the 14th Street Bridge, and the freeway delays continue between the 14th Street Bridge and the 3rd Street Tunnel in each direction. Earlier accident in Chantilly on southbound 28 at Willard Road moved to the shoulder, but traffic is still slow from Route 50. Looks like 66 delays on the westbound side of eased out, but eastbound it is slow through Arlington between Washington Boulevard and Lee Road. In Rockville, there is still an accident on eastbound West Booty Drive at Picard Drive. And watch out for the accident in Silver Spring on 16th Street north of Spring Street. 270, still some delays northbound through Gaithersburg and George Clark's Park. Now for GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch and forecast.
Tonight, clearing, a low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and chilly, high around 48.
The Putting on Airs podcast is half redneck, half Mosh. Ain't you fancy for being a fan? Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
For quite a few years now, the prevailing wisdom has been 10,000 steps a day is a good number to shoot for. But unless you live in a big city and don't own a car, that's probably a hard number to hit. The good news is more recent research has found that you can get significant health benefits with far less than 1,000 steps. This latest study out of Spain found that increasing your daily step count, whatever it is right now, increasing it by just 1,000 steps can reduce your risk of depression. Look, step count is a nice proxy for physical activity, which has been consistently shown to have beneficial effects on depression. In other words, it's not necessarily the steps that matter, but just your ability to get moving. So yes, it can be a walk, but it can also be a bike ride, swimming, yoga, weight training. If it feels good, you're more likely to keep at it. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child. This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
WMAL. On the program. I love this guy. He's a Muslim. He's an American. He was a commander in the United States Navy. He and his family fled Syria. He's been leading a Muslim reform effort. Now, here's the thing. The Muslims in this country who have assimilated into the Western culture, like Jews or Christians or atheists, it doesn't matter. My point is, and still practice their faith. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Then you have people in other parts of the world who don't believe in that. They'll believe that it's my way or the highway. And not just in their own lives, in everybody else's life. And that's the problem, the throwbacks to the 7th century. And those are the terrorists, those are the Islamists, those are the jihadis, those are very violent, hateful people. And so too many people like that have been able to come into our country with open borders or through deception and populate different areas of the country. And this is becoming a big problem. And not just a big problem for non-Muslims, but for actual America-loving Muslims. We don't do anybody any favors here by sitting back and pretending otherwise or ignoring what's taking place. And so I'm jumping into this with both feet. Found out about it from a caller, then we see it on Gateway Pundit. Now we've done a little bit more research. You know. And time will tell, but we'll have our friend Zudi on in about 40 minutes to go over this because we cannot have these Sharia cities around the country. I mean, they understand, the people doing this is how you destroy the West. The West, in many ways, is weak. I'm not talking about on the battlefield. I mean, internally weak. You see the judges, they are horrendous. You have a guy, I hope you saw the shows on the weekend. You know, we had an excellent guest who's been litigating on the civil side against the likes of Talili and people like that. And this guy was leading an effort, not a First Amendment effort. Mark Goldfeder, he exposed the terrorist support network behind some of these individuals in these campus riots. He and Dave Schoen, they're just terrific, and a number of others. But we're weak. We're weak because of the Democrats, because of the left. I mean, we can't even deport Venezuelan international terrorist gang members who were sent to this country to destroy it because some left-wing Obama judge says so. In violation of our own Constitution, they pretend to uphold the Constitution. I mean, they see the weakness. They see the colleges and universities. They see the Democrat Party. They see our media pushing Hamas propaganda points, Hamas lies about casualties. And the media is still pushing those lies about casualties, by the way. They're still doing it. And so they see that we're ripe. We're ripe for invasion, and this is an invasion. That's what it is. Oh, this is interesting, too. Very interesting. Reuters, U.S. families accuse Palestinian-American billionaires of facilitating Hamas attacks. I'm telling you, folks, American families of victims of October 7 attacks filed a lawsuit today against a prominent Palestinian-American businessman, Bashar Masri, M-A-S-R-I, charging he provided assistance in constructing infrastructure that allowed Hamas militants to carry out their cross-border rampage. This is the lawsuit. It was filed in the U.S. District for Washington, D.C. is thought to be the first case of a U.S. citizen being accused of providing major support for the attacks that triggered a wider Middle East conflict and upended the region. Some of these guys with their podcasts, their subscriptions, are definitely going to interview him, pat him on the back, and kiss his ass, don't you think, Mr. Producer? Masri's office called the lawsuit baseless. According to a statement announcing the lawsuit, properties Masri owned, developed, and controlled, including 2 luxury hotels and leading industrial zone in Gaza, the Gaza Industrial Estate, is accusing to the lawsuit accusation, quote, concealed tunnels underneath them and had tunnel entrances accessible from within the properties, which Hamas used in terrorist operations before and after October 7th. First of all, I don't care who you are, Palestinian American, if you're a wealthy American businessman and you're building in Gaza, you got to be close to Hamas, don't you? Must really run the place. If they didn't like it, I don't think you'd be building there. Even worse, if they weren't supporting you, I don't think you'd be building there. Let's see if Mark Levin can build in Gaza. What do you think of that, Rich? Defendants facility. I'm going to continue this. We're running out of time in this segment, but I want to pick up where I'm leaving off here. Because this is important too. These are all important stories about Americans and America and what's happening to us. Look at Dallas, for God's sakes, Plano, Texas. They're going to have a Sharia compliant city. Not only aren't they interested in assimilation, they're interested in worse. That is, anti-American city. With everything that's happening in the economy, feels like we're walking on shaky ground. Prices are stuck at really high level. It seems like nothing is affordable. Never fear, Mark is here. That's correct. Never fear, Mark is here. I know many of you have been relying on credit cards. You keep turning over the debt, which means you keep turning over massive interest. Credit card debt is skyrocketing. My friends at American Financing can help you take control of your life. They can help you access the equity in your home to pay off that high interest where you're paying 20, 25, 30%, replaced with 5.5%, and up to $10,000 of that interest is tax deductible. You know what that is? Peace of mind. On average, people just like you are saving $800 a month with American Financing. Plus, they may close your loan in less than 10 days. So don't let what's going on and swirling on around you, all the pundits are all well and good. Take charge of your own life, because this is the time to deal with it. The rates are low. Call American Financing, 888-900-1828, 888-900-1828, or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5s start at 6.327% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 800-795-1210 for details about credit costs and terms.
Stay with me.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Let's see, something different for dinner. Searching restaurants near me.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Gee, same old, same old.
Wait, we're right here. Ma'am, our restaurant's just a few blocks from you. Why is she not seeing us?
Back to the usual, I guess.
Ma'am, can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local restaurants. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions, like what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. A Beltsville man deported to El Salvador despite having protective status will not be coming back to the U.S. tonight.
Kilmar Obrego Garcia will remain in prison in El Salvador for at least another day. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, issuing a temporary stay blocking a district judge's ruling. Roberts agreeing to a request from the Trump administration to give both sides more time to make their arguments. Friday, a district judge cited a ruling from 2019 which shielded him from deportation to El Salvador, where he faced likely persecution by local gangs. Today, an appeals court in Richmond issued this scathing opinion, saying the U.S. government, quote, has no legal authority to snatch a person who is lawfully present in the United States off the street.
7 News' Josh Chapin, the Solicitor General, argues the judge lacked legal authority to make the order. Maryland's $67 billion budget's on the way to the governor's desk after final passage by the legislature on the last day of session today. It closes a $3 billion deficit with about $2 billion in cuts and $1.6 billion in tax and fee hikes. House Minority Whip Jesse Pippy.
But it's clear that the majority of Marylanders don't want their taxes raised. And this year we could have passed a budget that did not include tax raises.
Democratic Delegate Ben Barnes says they need the tax increases for a number of reasons. The $5 attire fee will...
We're getting our transportation trust fund in a good place so we can make sure we have safe roads and bridges.
The other revenue will help avoid the...
untenable or unacceptable plan to cut things like Medicaid for poor kids,
and education for kids with special needs. A D.C. budget fix bill is not on the House's list of bills to be voted on this week, and the mayor is sounding the alarm.
It is a budget that is already approved, and let me be clear, this is not them providing us $1 billion. These are local dollars.
Mayor Muriel Bowser says she's reaching out to House leadership
with a focus on getting a date this week.
Or the city will have to start making drastic cuts and at the same time delay next year's budget process with its top priorities.
How to keep our schools competitive and growing. How do we keep our city clean and safe? And how do we continue to grow in uncertain times?
Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
If there's one thing we've learned about President Trump in his second term, it's that he never forgets.
One of the president's unrealized dreams of his first term was to have a military parade downtown, complete with tanks and missile launchers, the idea coming from his visit to the Bastille Day parade in Paris in 2017.
We may do something like that on July 4th in Washington, down Pennsylvania.
It never happened because of price and logistics, but the city paper now reports the plan is back. A 4-mile parade from the Pentagon to the White House on June 14th to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. Local officials are just now hearing about it. No details have been released. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Stocks ending mixed today as after a tumultuous day, with many concerns that President Trump's tariffs will fuel a recession or global trade war. But he's defending the tariffs, saying lots of countries now want to negotiate.
Now they're offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for, because they're experiencing a lot of hurt.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is telling the president to back off.
Put down the golf clubs and pick up the papers, because what is going on is anything but great.
Traffic and weather next.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Pay rent with Built to earn flexible, transferable points and unlock exclusive benefits. There's no cost to join, and just by paying rent, you unlock flexible points that can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. When you pay rent through Built, you unlock 2 powerful benefits. First, you earn one of the industry's most valuable points on rent every month. No matter where you live or who your landlord is, your rent now works for you. Second, you gain access to exclusive neighborhood benefits in your city. Built's neighborhood benefits are things like extra points on dining out, complimentary post-workout shakes, free mats or towels at your favorite fitness studios, and unique experiences that only Built members can access. And when you're ready to travel, Built points can be converted to your favorite miles and hotel points around the world, meaning your rent can literally take you places. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, what are you waiting for? Start paying rent through Built and take advantage of your neighborhood benefits by going to joinbuilt.com/WWO. That's JOINBILT.com/WWO. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/WWO to sign up for Built today.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Overall, looks like delays have eased down on the major interstates. Beltway is clear from Virginia in towards Maryland at 270. No delays now. Headed from the spur all the way in towards Germantown, Urbana, and headed in towards Frederick. You will still find accident activity right now on West Goody Drive eastbound at Picard Drive in Rockville, and in Redland there's an accident on Muncaster Mill Road at Muncaster Road. Use caution there. In the district, still some delays on the freeway eastbound between the 14th Street Bridge and the 12th Street Tunnel, and westbound between 6th and 7th Street headed towards the 14th Street Bridge. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
We'll see skies gradually clear later tonight with lots of sunshine tomorrow, mid-40s to around 50.
Right now, 45 degrees in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
Steel of a nondescript building. We've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Well, let's go back to this Reuters piece. United States families accuse Palestinian-American billionaire of facilitating Hamas attacks. American families of victims of October 7 filed a lawsuit today against a prominent Palestinian-American businessman, Bashar Masri, M-A-S-R-I, charging that he provided assistance in constructing infrastructure that allowed Hamas militants to carry out their cross-border rampage. The lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court in Washington. It's thought to be the first case of a U.S. citizen being accused of providing major support for the attacks that triggered the wider Middle East conflict and upended the region. Masari's office called the lawsuit baseless. I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? According to a statement announcing the lawsuit, properties Masri owned, developed and controlled, including 2 luxury hotels in the leading industrial zone in Gaza. The leading industrial zone in Gaza, Gaza Industrial Estate. Quote, concealed tunnels underneath them, and had tunnel entrances accessible from within the properties, which Hamas used in terrorist operations before, on, and after October 7th. So if that's accurate, you have to ask yourself, number one, he was able to build it, so they knew. Number two, they were monitoring. Number three, why did he put tunnels underneath them? Why did they have entrances to the tunnels accessible from within the properties? They said the defendants facilitated the construction and concealment of those tunnels and even built above-ground solar panel installations that they then used to supply Hamas with electricity to the tunnels. Now, we know they didn't do that without permission or without oversight from Hamas. The October 7 attacks killed some 1,200 Israelis, they write, including more than 40 Americans. Over 40 Americans were murdered on that day. And prompted Israeli retaliation. Here you go. Here's word against Gaza that has since killed more than 50,000 Palestinians. Now, this is Hamas. These are their numbers. Even now, today, it's April 7th. Last week, Hamas indicated that the numbers were high and that 72% of those killed were of terrorist age young men. My phrase, terrorists, but terrorist age young men. None of that is in the Reuters piece. None of it. Because Reuters is a pro-Hamas sleazeball operation. The lawsuit, which targets Masri and his companies, was filed on behalf of nearly 200 American plaintiffs, including survivors and relatives of victims. Our goal is to expose those who've aided and abetted Hamas. Well, somebody better sue Qatar. And to try and bring accountability to individuals and companies that have presented a legitimate and moderate image for the Western world, but have actively and knowingly helped Hamas. Lee Wolowski, of the Wilkie Fine Gallagher law firm, congratulations, sir. Lead attorney representing the plaintiffs in a statement. He said GIE was originally established with the help of U.S. taxpayer funding. Got that? Via the U.S. Agency for International Development to promote economic growth in the region. It said that as a result of the defendant's deception, Hamas tunnel network was built with the help of infrastructure and energy projects financed by international institutions, including the World Bank. A statement from Masri's office called the allegations against him and his businesses false, so he would seek their dismissal in court. Of course you will, because you know if it goes to trial, you may have a problem, pal. It said Masri had been involved in the development, humanitarian work for the past decades and unequivocally opposes violence of any kind. Well, then explain the tunnels and explain the access to the tunnels and explain Hamas's approval. This you'll have to do. This you'll have to do. A March 10 article in the Jerusalem Post cited unnamed diplomatic sources as saying that Masri had served as a close advisor to Adam Bolin, U.S. President Trump's envoy, seeking release of hostages held in Gaza. Interesting, isn't it, Mr. Producer? A Reuters interview in October 2020, when he was 59, Masri spoke in favor of Gulf Arab ties with Israel, condemned by Palestinian leaders, saying they could be an opportunity to apply fresh pressure to halt Jewish settlement in occupied land. He said, Palestinians must not give up hope. Our enemies want us to give up hope. If we give up hope, they have exactly what they want, and there'll be no Palestine, no Palestinian people, he said. Well, let's see what happens. Sounds like a strong suit. Just from the face of it, it sounds like a very, very strong suit. It'd be hard to see how a judge just dismisses it. Either on a motion to dismiss or summary judgment. Seems difficult to justify, but you never know with these bastard judges. You just don't. Excuse me. With these honorable judges, Mr. Producer, how dare you? We're going to have Zuhdi Jasser on in about 20 minutes to talk about this community that they want to build in Plano, Texas. A friend of ours texted me, and she said, well, the local city councilor is not giving them any building permits, but that's the point of the article. The point of the article is they're building without building permits, and they've already built 74 homes. And so it's a lawless operation, is the point. Our buddy Pete Hegseth in the Oval Office today with the president and the prime minister talking about the Houthis. Cut to go.
It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis, and it's about to get worse. It's been a devastating campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent, and it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear with the Iranians as well. They should not continue to...
Hold on now, Pete. Hold on now, President Trump. Hold on now, J.D. Vance. You mean the Iranians are behind attacking our ships? Wow. Somebody better tell Manny, Mo, and Jack, the three stooges of the internet, that Iran is behind the Houthis shooting at our ships. Last count, they shot at 319, but now it's closer to 325. And apparently it's our fault. It's our fault that they want to sink our ships. They were shooting at our military ships, our naval ships. Oh, we provoked it, We're in international waters. We shouldn't be in international waters. I want you to think about Iran with a nuclear weapon, what control they'll have over the entire Middle East. Oil production, the flow of commerce through navigable waters, control over the airspace. What do you think about this? They just surrender it to this regime, which is an illegitimate regime. The people don't even want it. They want to overthrow it. I mean, we should be actively supporting Marxist regimes, fascist regimes, Islamo-Nazi regimes. My father taught me this, a long time ago. My mother too. I guess some people aren't being taught any of these things, are they? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hackers don't need much. Just one leaked password can potentially unlock a treasure trove of personal information, leading to stress, pain, and permanently wreck credit. Don't be an easy target. Get protection by Aura today. Aura protects your identity, finances, and family all in one powerful app. Get real-time alerts, safeguard your accounts, and block scams before they happen. If identity theft strikes, we help you recover. Stay protected at aura.com/stream. That's AURA.com/stream.
Hey y'all, as a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting Wayfair.com. You can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
Around-the-clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
making sense of the media.
The news media is attacking them because this is what happens when you're a Republican.
Chris Plant, weekdays 9 to noon.
Yeah, our news media, really.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
WMAL.
It's official. Newsmax has become a news giant. It's even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Over 40 million Americans regularly turn to Newsmax for the news they need to know. They're tuning into the Newsmax channel on all major cable systems. They watch Newsmax 2 on all streaming platforms. They go online to newsmax.com for breaking headlines. Millions more have downloaded the free Newsmax app on their smartphone and home TV. Reuters says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. Tens of millions of Americans like you have made the switch to Newsmax for the news they can trust. So make the switch today. You won't ever look back.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for what you do.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
You give me hope.
Making sense of the news. First thing each morning. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9 on WMAL.
The United States Supreme Court just ruled the Trump administration can restart for now deportations of migrants. It claims they're members of Venezuelan gangs using a seldom invoked wartime authority. Just happened. The order from the High Court grants a request for emergency relief sought by the Department of Justice in the dispute over President Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to swiftly remove alleged members of the Trade the Agba gang without a hearing. This is CBS. In an unsigned decision, the Supreme Court said the detainees who are challenging the removals of the Alien Enemies Act are confined in Texas, so the venue for their case is improper in the District of Columbia, which is where the dispute is being considered. In other words, they've taken the case away from Boasberg. As a result, the government is likely to succeed on the merits of this action, said the U.S. Supreme Court. It added that detainees subject to the 1798 law after the date of the Supreme Court's order must receive notice that they face removal under the Alien Enemies Act. That notice must be afforded within a reasonable time and in such manner as will allow them to actually seek habeas relief in the proper venue before such removal occurs. The Federal District Court issued an order last month preventing the government from deporting the migrants under the law. The decision from the High Court to do so comes amid rising tensions between the I don't need their propaganda. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at least for now, the Supreme Court said, no, those Venezuelan gang members, their deportation can continue. When you have other Venezuelans and you bring them forward, they have to have notice. But under this statute, 1798, Alien Enemies Act, the swift removal is upheld. For now. Now, the district court had said no. The appellate panel had said no. The U.S. Supreme Court says yes, for now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't like to do this, but I've been right about this 100%. 100%. The legal analysts out there, all over cable, all over the rest of the media, they always have egg on their faces. Always. And they never apologize, they never reverse course, they never say they're wrong. Then we get the hosts who say, like I've been saying, who are cowards, who haven't been saying. We've led this effort. I want to give credit also to Kerry Urban on Fox, Bill Barr, former Attorney General, when he was on Fox, said the same thing. I said, and I will continue to say, these judges are out of line. And we have led the effort behind this microphone, on this radio program, on Fox, on my Saturday and Sunday shows, on the Blaze, digital TV, on the internet. We here have led the effort to confront these out of control rogue federal district judges. This judge, Boasberg, didn't even have the authority as a matter of jurisdiction to be ruling on this. According to the court, they're confined to Texas, so the venue for their case is improper in the District of Columbia, which is where their dispute is being considered. Now think about this, America. One for the Gipper, for the new Gipper, Trump. This is why we fight these things. This is why I do what I do. To me, it's exhilarating. It's obviously not when we lose, but these district judges don't have the final say, thank God. The 235 who were appointed during the Biden regime by somebody and pushed through for confirmation because they were quote unquote progressive. And that is according to Schmucky Chucky Schumer. Supreme Court clears the way for deportations of alleged Venezuelan gang members to resume. It's obvious that at least the majority of these justices are giving this some very, very serious thought right now. Very serious thought right now. Now, I can remember when I first challenged all this on Fox. There was a legal analyst over there. I brought hundreds, if not thousands of cases, and sometimes you have, a judge. You get it wrong, you just appeal the case. Of course you appeal the case. But what's going on here is more than a single case. What's going on here is an abuse of power by the judiciary on the whole like we've never seen in our country's history. Where individual lower court judges are imposing their will on the President of the United States, but even more of the people, the sovereign people of the United States. I don't know how long this will last. I don't know what the Supreme Court will do next, but I know what they did here. They took the request for emergency relief and they took it immediately. They said the jurisdiction is in the wrong court. They said, no, you're wrong. They're likely to succeed on the merits, that is the government, by at least having the case removed from Washington because it belongs in Texas. Oh, and by the way, you can continue your deportation of the gang members. Any other Venezuelans, they're to be given notice, which is understandable. That's okay. But the gang members, under this old law, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Now, I will remind you, America, that old law is newer than your Constitution. Your Constitution is older than that old law. Did you know that, America? The old law there. Old laws, we don't comply with old laws. We make laws as we go along. Judge-made laws. Democrat-made laws. Left-wing kook made laws. That's right. And so it goes. There's another decision today that was also helpful to the administration, matter of fact. And that's a good thing. Anyway, we're covering the news as it breaks. So that means we have to move from issue to issue depending on how things do break. I will get into this tariff issue. It looks like President Trump, they just keep underestimating him. It drives me crazy. There's more than 50 countries lined up who want to negotiate a new tariff deal or a tariff deal with the United States, and they want to get it down to zero. None of this would be happening but for Trump. So what the media will continue to do is focus on the stock market.
There's a lot of industries that are actually going to be helped by this. A lot of industries that are on their backs that are actually going to recover from this. There's a lot of our industrial heartland that needs to come back for our national security purposes that are going to benefit from this. But it's not just this. He's got a massive growth economic program on the table. And we're going to keep a very close eye on these Republicans in Congress. Very, very close. The Senate's starting to make me nervous. The Senate's starting to make me nervous. None of these phony damn things. You know what? We're not putting up with it anymore here. We're just not. Not that I ever did. I never put up with it. Did I, Mr. Producer? No, never did. We're going to hold people, their feet to the fire, and we're going to name names as we always did. I guess that's why they don't come on. We're going to come right back after the break with our friend Zuhdi Jasser, founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Not for imposing Sharia law, and we want to get his impression of what's taking place here in Plano, Texas. We'll be right back.
WMAL.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before. Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
On the Beltway, first on the Maryland side. Right now, no problems in Prince George's County or in Montgomery County. In Virginia on the Beltway, looked at the cameras around the Beltway, didn't see any crashes and no constructions being set up yet. You should be at speed both on the inner loop and on the outer loop. 66 in Fairfax County, you're not tapping the brakes eastbound or westbound. On 95 from the Beltway to Fredericksburg, lanes clear northbound and southbound. And right now in the city, 295, 395, and 695, no reports of any delays there. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, clearing, a low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and chilly, high around 48.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
Then here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news. School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources, but when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the vote. Because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Mark Levin, America's passionately cerebral voice. Talk with that voice now. 877-381-3811.
You know, we had my good friend Zudy Jasser with us, who unfortunately didn't get to Congress. He would have been a great congressman. And one of the reasons is to counter all this insanity that's going on here. Zudy, do you see this effort in Plano, Texas, to build this this city? What were they calling it? Epic City. Welcome to Epic City. They've already built 74 homes. They have no building permits. It's the East Plano, Islamic Center. What are they doing here? They say that it's going to be strictly Sharia law. That's what they're going to educate the kids on. Only Muslims may apply. Only Muslims may be there. It's 400 acres. They're going to have apartments. They're going to have a massive mosque. And they have no intention of assimilating, quite the opposite. What do you make of this?
Well, I have to tell you, and thanks for having me, Mark. It's always amazing to be with you. And, I'm glad you're bringing attention to this because, as you look at what happened in Europe, the separationist mentality, they start doing that when they know that the external community is having an impact on them and they're losing followers to their political Islamic movement. Their attempts to indoctrinate our youth are failing. And you saw Al Jazeera English, which Al Gore sold for $500 million or even more, failed miserably in the United States and went out of business within 3 years, thank God. And, Al Jazeera is the propaganda arm for political Islam globally. But this thing,
Qatar, right?
It's run by a cleric. Yes, where it's run out of Qatar, which is how you had the red-green axis radicalizing folks. Is the green part of it was not only anti-Semitic, but anti-American, anti-Western, anti-Israel. And ultimately, the reason they want to create these separationist groups and separate them out of society is because they're worried about the ability of freedom and liberty and individualism and anti-tribalism to impact their youth, their families, and others. And they may claim it's about religious liberty. They may claim it's about religious freedom. But at the end of the day, the cleric running this is Yasser Qadhi, Qadhi. Yasser has been, was openly a denier of the Holocaust, and then he claimed that he changed his ways since he said that 15, 20 years ago. He has openly talked positively about what Hamas did on October 7 and its genocidal acts. He runs a website, a platform called Muslim Matters, that ultimately looks at radicalizing our community against the West. And it's part of the George Soros red-green axis. And most importantly, to you, Mark, he runs Al Maghrib Institute and has been very connected to it. Al Maghrib Institute has said that democracy, secular democracy, is the path of the devil and is only something we should follow as we are a minority. But ultimately, Sharia state, the Islamic State concept, is a much better system, etc. So this is the guy that wants to build a 400-acre area of separationism around Dallas, in Dallas, Texas area.
How many followers do you think a guy like this has? I mean, it doesn't take much to cause trouble.
Not at all. And he's, the New York Times hailed him as a reformer, and because he was anti-Al-Qaeda, and a lot of the Muslim Brotherhood groups that were civilizational jihadists were very upset with Al-Qaeda after 9/11 because the Salafi component didn't like the jihadi component of Al-Qaeda. So this guy grew to have hundreds of thousands of followers. I think he's got over 1 million followers on Twitter. And, the questions we should be asking are also not only what are they going to be indoctrinating, which is definitely anti-American, anti-Western, and pro-political Islam and Caliphism, if you will, trying to build that caliphate. But at the end of the day, who's funding this? The largest mosque in America right now is in Baltimore. It's an arm of the Turkish government. It's been funded by the Turks in Baltimore, and Obama visited it and tolerated them separating men and women, didn't say anything about that. Our Muslim reform movement said, listen, why aren't you demanding that women be present when you went to visit that mosque? So these foreign entities from Turkey to Qatar and elsewhere are the only ones that can really afford to build these kind of complexes. The Muslim community is wealthy, but they're certainly not running Fortune 500 companies and other things that have foundational capacity to build the type of complex that you see they're talking about in this thing. So my first question is, where are they getting the financing for this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And because that'll tell you what's behind the ideology. Nasser Qadi is not one that has gotten necessarily all of his funding from the United States.
Ziggy Jackson, let me ask you this. The face they try to put on this is to attack Israel, that Israel's an oppressor and so forth and so on. But all of this is going on in our country. This guy with this outfit, the things going on in our colleges and universities, it's really bigger, isn't it? I mean, as you point out, it's an attack on the West, an attack on the United States. So when we have clowns in our own party, you're Republican, I'm a Republican, clowns in our own philosophy, conservative philosophy, who give aid and comfort to Iran, who give aid and comfort to Syria, who give aid and comfort to Qatar, and now Turkey, of course. They're led by a genocidal maniac, too. They do grave damage to the United States, don't they?
Oh, they sure do. And, this is why I was calling for, the way to bring an end to the war in Israel after the recurrent wars they've had to fight and lead on their own often is to have the Palestinians declare an unconditional surrender. Have Hamas and the Palestinian people. That's how Japan and Germany ultimately shifted. The German emperor, the Japanese emperor finally said he was going to, after they surrendered, the people of Japan became free marketeers. They changed their ways, and this is the way the Palestinians could change. And the Qatars of the world, the establishment, the Islamic theopolitical establishment of theocrats that are running places and trying to build these things, the Saudis and the Qataris, when they want to help the West, they say they're going to just build more mosques. The Saudis are investing $500 billion in a city in the desert instead of building foundations that talk about liberalism and freedom and journalism and humanity, liberal arts, if you will. But no, they want to just dump it into stealing Western technologies, running global Gulf consortiums instead of actually fueling change and reform for individualism within their people. And that's why the Yasser Qadis in Dallas, they're doing this because they want to control us. And you realize that they're losing the war of control when they start to develop enclaves that can insulate them and incubate radicalism rather than integrating into society.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I was watching this and getting a different view, which is, how many politicians do these people own? A lot. Qatar, Saudi Arabia. How many bureaucrats in the federal government do they own? A lot. How many law firms do they control? A lot. So my concern is, Qatar's at the negotiating table and so forth and being praised. My concern is that they have bought a lot of clout and a lot of power, at least at the upper end, no?
100%. And it really has penetrated a lot of folks on both sides of the aisle. I mean, I'll give you an example. In this East Plano area, I was an expert witness for a woman who was trying to get a divorce from her husband, that this same religious institution in Dallas was creating a marriage document that she couldn't get out of 10, 15 years later. She was trying to use American laws to identify her rights as an equal partner in this marriage that she wanted to get divorced from. And he was invoking some sham document that mosque created to say that, well, that takes precedence. And the conservative judges in those areas were in Texas were denying her rights because of the exclusion of religious freedom. And this is the problem, is that we confuse conservative values of lack of intervention from federal government with the incubation of anti-American, anti-Western foreign legal systems, which is a very different debate. The Islamic world is in the same place in our religious debate that America was at our founding, not where we are in the 21st century. That's all about anti-religious separatism and anti, hyper secular anti-religious movement of the far left. No, Islam is where America was in the 17th and 18th century, and our conservative movement sometimes, for some of the folks who are, like you said, bought and paid by Qatar and others, are going to conveniently forget that fact when it comes to things like this.
And we see it with this guy Khalil. They're trying to turn him into a First Amendment martyr. He's not a First Amendment martyr. He's a mouthpiece for Hamas. He is, there's civil litigation, and that's really the best way to get to the bottom of these things, Udi. And these lawyers who are very good, very tough, very smart, they say, look at this document. They're promoting Hamas and this and this and that. They're not. It's in a First Amendment thing. This is, you don't belong in the country. You're here as a guest. Goodbye, right?
Exactly. I mean, what rational human being would say that the American U.S. Constitution that I joined the Navy and would die for, and so many of Americans put our lives and had put their lives on the line for, would then say that, well, that basically applies to every human being on the planet that might end up here that wants to hurt us or whatever, then they also deserve the protections of the First Amendment. That's absurd. They don't. They're not citizens. They are here on privilege. And ultimately, just as we should, not endorse their right to eat away the integrity of who we are as a country, we also should vet for these ideas in immigration. It should not just be about, paying millions of dollars to come in or whatever it might be. It should be about the values that we share. And do they believe in Americanism or do they believe in Islamism?
So true. All right, don't hang up. I want people to know a little bit more about you and your family. Your family came to the United States. What were they escaping? So when we come back, let's talk about that. All right, folks, I want to point out that Israel's still under attack. Getting missile fires from the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas, enemies seeking to destroy her. Here in America, we can't imagine living under constant threat of terrorism and rocket attacks. Imagine if we were getting hit from Mexico and Canada, and that's only two sides. Israel's getting hit by 7. But this is the reality there. Parents taking their children to school, falling on the ground to cover them up when they hear these sirens, trying to comfort them. The next attack against Israel could be happening now. There's no time to prepare, so that's why I'm partnering proudly with International Fellowship of Christians and Jews to provide life-saving aid and security essentials. Your urgently needed gift, tax-deductible gift today, will help provide security essentials like bomb shelters. Imagine this. Got to build bomb shelters. They need flak jackets. They need bulletproof vests for first responders, armored security vehicles, ambulances, and more. So join the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews and me in standing with Israel. Make your tax-deductible gift. It's a blessing. They need it. 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ. 844-866-IFCJ. When we come back, our friend Zudi Jasser. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never sing. I'm not good at singing. I'm the only person I know who's been booed off a karaoke stage. But that was before I was pregnant. Today, I'm a singer with a captive audience of one. She doesn't boo me. She never will. We know how it feels. We're the March of Dimes. Find out how we can help you have a healthier baby at marchofdimesbaby.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm LaToya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like LaToya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company, weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
Then here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news. The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
What do you think of working with the SEALs? We went out every night going after bad guys. I was humbled.
There was no going back home. I would be in another room crying because I was afraid to go to sleep because of what was coming for me in the middle of the night.
How long did it take you to be able to talk about it?
A long time. But I realized my experiences may help other people too.
The men like yourself are considered legends in the community.
You're right.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
In today's unpredictable world, Byrna offers a smarter, safer way to protect yourself. Trusted by over 500 government agencies, the Byrna less lethal pistol launcher is designed to incapacitate attackers without permanent harm, giving you time to escape or get help. Take Lauren's story. Confronted by an aggressive man who wouldn't back down despite attempts to de-escalate, Lauren was thankful for his Byrna launcher. One shot incapacitated the attacker, allowing police to intervene without anyone suffering irreparable harm. Byrna is legal across all 50 states, requires no background checks, and ships right to your door. Proudly assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana, over 500,000 units have been sold. For you, my listeners, get 10% off at Byrna.com/Levin. That's BYRNA.com/LEVIN. Protect yourself and your family the smart way with Byrna. You must be 18 years old, so visit Byrna.com/Levin.
Making sense of your world.
Talk radio is where I get all of my information.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Know the news the minute you wake up. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. 5 to 9 a.m. on WMAL.
We're here with our friend Zudy Jasper. Zudy, so tell us about your family roots a little bit.
Yeah, my grandfather, Zudy Jasser, was from Aleppo, Syria, and at the time, in the late 40s, had tried to bring democracy to Syria, but ultimately there were 20 military coups that happened in Syria to 63, And then ultimately the Ba'athists, the Nazis of Syria, took over in '63 and nationalized, took over his businesses. He had a newspaper, and he was put in state arrest for a number of years. My dad then escaped Syria as he finished medical school with my mom and came legally and got political asylum here in the U.S. And I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin and ultimately learned that, the place that allowed us to practice our faith more freely than in any Muslim majority country was America. And ultimately, the Middle East was being torn between two evils. One is sort of the military secular dictatorships of Baathism, which was Syria and Egypt, versus theocracy, which were the Khomeinists or the Saudi, the Wahhabis. And ultimately, Assad, over time, got into the Iranian orbit. And I wish my parents, I wish my dad and my grandfather were alive to see what Israel did to really save Syria. And ultimately, the last few months, we saw that it wasn't necessarily, that God bless the hundreds of thousands that died trying to get rid of Assad. They weren't able to do it. But ultimately, what happened was Israel, because of money, of fuel coming in from Iran, weapons coming in, Hezbollah, Iranian Republican Guard Corps, and others, had to protect itself. They cut off the transmission of weaponry and others through Iraq into Syria. They cut off even some of the Russian flow, and that ultimately left the military of Assad exposed. And Israel, over a matter of weeks, destroyed most of the military. Assad had to leave, and that is really, if there's going to be a statue in Damascus to thank the Syrians, to thank the departure of Assad, it would be Netanyahu. And ultimately, they did that for their own self-preservation. And I think, when people say, well, Syria now is even worse because you have a former al-Qaeda jihadist running it, I say, listen, as a doctor, we have a massive tumor that's removed from a patient. They're going to get sicker. There are metastases, and the jihadists are part of the metastases. You remember it took General Madison, Trump's first administration, to get rid of ISIS because Assad let them thrive. He destroyed the moderates, destroyed families like mine. And the jihadists are no better. They're worse in many ways. But that cancer, patients are going to get sicker before. And if any country has a chance at success, it'll be Syria because of the fact that Israel decimated their military. The deep state is very weak. They can't really do more of those coups. So ultimately, we might see a country that has a diversity of Kurds and Druze and Shia, Sunni, and Christians and others that might have to come together.
But not if Erdogan has his way, because he's horrendous. Tell everybody very quickly, we're running out of time, what he's doing with Syria.
Oh, he's taken it over. Not only has he tried to put out his own leadership, he is trying to put air bases there, with Russian missiles there.
And even the hard left, you and I talk about the fusion of the Marxists and the Islamists. And you see that in Israel, too. And you see it around Israel, too, right? That's why they're trying to take on Netanyahu.
Exactly. And the bottom line is Israel is the little America in the Middle East that is surrounded by some of the worst neighbors in the world. And whether it's the militants of Iran that see an end of time scenario where they would translate individual al-Qaeda type, Islamist type militancy to a national fratricide if they had a nuclear weapon. So the reality is that Israel has to live with that, and what they're doing.
Hold on there. I don't know if you have time. I'm going to try and hold you one more segment after the top of the hour. This is very important because this has come to the fore. Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Is there a problem with that? Because we actually have people, prominent people, who are going on and saying, we can't afford to stop them. We can't get involved in that. That it's Levin. That's me now, trying to drag America into a war. I'm not trying to drag America into anything. I'm just looking at this like you are, Zudi, and saying, wait a minute. They can't get a nuke. They may actually think about hitting us. So if you can stick with us, stick with us. We'll be right back.
WMAL, making sense of your world.
Thank you for your clear insight.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
This is a major wake-up call.
Making sense of the news.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish@wish.org.
Hey, I'm Reba McIntyre. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There is a difference between embarrassment and awkwardness. Embarrassment is a response to a personal failing or a gaffe, and the right response is to acknowledge it, own it, and move on. That's according to Hamilton College philosophy professor Alexandra Plakaias. Now, because awkwardness is caused by a lack of social guidance, she says, you can try to anticipate it and head it off before it happens. Alexandra suggests that we go into a situation knowing exactly what you want to get out of it. Also, she says, remember this, there is no I in awkward. Well, what does that mean? That means pay attention to what everyone else is saying or doing. There are likely going to be some signals there that could offer you a pathway out of the awkward situation. Worst case scenario, make a joke, laugh it off, change the subject, and then move on. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
For the Trump administration, I'm Lisa Lacera. The Supreme Court has lifted a lower court order blocking the administration's use of an 18th century law to deport hundreds of people it claims are gang members.
The Trump administration using the 1798 law to deport more than 200 alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. The American Civil Liberties Union suing on behalf of a group of migrants, arguing the president exceeded his authority, saying the measure only authorizes deportations when war is declared or the U.S. has been invaded.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, a Trump appointee, joined parts of the dissent, which said the administration has sought to avoid judicial review in this case. President Trump says he's standing by his tariff plan and says trading partners are stepping up to negotiate.
There's no consideration of delaying reciprocal tariffs later this week, President Trump says.
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs.
The president met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the first foreign leader to visit the White House since last week's tariff announcement. The Israeli leader says his country is moving quickly to drop all tariffs on U.S. goods and eliminate other trade barriers.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The cleanup continues in parts of the Midwest and South after several days of deadly storms.
Western Tennessee is one of the several regions hit hard. Torrential downpours stalling over Memphis Saturday, flooding much of Interstate 40 and nearly submerging cars. In Reeves, Tennessee, several homes are flooded. Some people still haven't heard from family members who live there.
Fox's Madison Scarpino in Nashville. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Sharon Reardon from the Novak Motors News Desk. Good evening. DC's mayor says she's troubled by the ongoing delay by the House in passing the city's budget.
We need the House to pass the budget fix, and we need it to happen this week.
Mayor Muriel Bowser, wearing a baseball cap and blazoned with the number 51, explains
getting beyond this week puts us in territory where we have to take more extraordinary moves so that our budget remains balanced.
The Senate has already approved a standalone bill on the city budget, and President Trump over a week ago urged the House to quickly okay DC's finances. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Some DC police officers being investigated for illegal PPP loans, according to 7 News. Multiple DC police officers are being arrested for those illegal loans. However, at this time, no officers have been terminated. Last month, former MPD officer Kaylin Fields pled guilty to wire fraud after stealing $35,000 in pandemic assistance loans from the federal government. She faces up to 20 years in prison when she's sentenced later this year. And gas prices shot up last week, but don't expect them to stay up for long.
The national average now $3.21 a gallon, the highest level of the year. But with tariffs looming, though, it may be short-lived. Gas prices nationally are likely to decline.
Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says the rise was due to a switch from winter to more expensive summer blend gas. What's taking over now is oil dropping below $60 a barrel.
That's the lowest level since the pandemic. Economic duress causing oil prices to plummet are the primary reason for the decline in the price of oil.
Even without recession panic, prices generally drop anyway between now and Memorial Day. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
WMAL News Time is 8:04. I'm Sharon Reardon, and now here's your WMAL traffic and weather from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the Beltway, Virginia side, you're good to go on the inner loop and on the outer loop. Now it's Maryland on the Beltway. No issues in Prince George's County or in Montgomery County. In Montgomery County, on 270 between the Beltway and Frederick, clear on the northbound side and on the southbound side. And back into Prince George's County, first traveling between the two Beltways, no issues on the BW Parkway or 95 between Washington and Baltimore, and Route 50 from the Beltway to the Bay Bridge at speed on the eastbound side and on the westbound side. And now for GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, clearing, low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and chilly, high around 48.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch. Bring it around, stop. Bring it down, sorry.
It's how we build our schools. It's how we build our workplaces. It's how we build our homes. It's how we build our futures.
Whether it's commercial or residential, Patriot Contractors is ready to help with your building or remodeling needs, locally and veteran-owned. Learn more about Patriot Contractors at patriotcontractorsusa.com or call them at 615-489-0578.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, Mark Levin.
I don't think I've ever done this before. I held a guest over past top of the hour, but Zooey Jess is that important and that special. He's our friend. Actually, you're involved in a number of organizations, aren't you, Zooey? Tell everybody.
Yes, I'm president and founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, which we founded after 9/11 to counter this ideology of political Islam. And in the journey since then, we founded a coalition called the Muslim Reform Movement, which is about reformers in the West, in Europe, Canada, and across the world. And also, more recently, the Clarity Coalition. Clarity stands for Champions for Liberty Against the Reality of Islamist Tyranny. And that includes multiple think tanks and others in the West, many of whom you and I know as friends that are in this space that we formed as sort of the folks that, like the old Committee on the Present Danger during the Cold War, the Clarity Coalition is about recognizing the red-green axis and educating folks about it.
Would you say more Muslims live under the red-green axis or in countries that are, Look, they don't have to be pure democracies in that sense, but are relatively more civil.
Well, the OIC is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. That's 56 Muslim majority countries, and they are essentially the neo-caliphate of the world today. And many of them, left to their own devices, would want to kill one another, like the Irans and Saudi Arabias. But yet, together at the UN, they focus on the smallest country, one of the smallest countries in the world, Israel, because they want to tribalize their countries, their citizens, as being anti-Western, anti-Semitic, and ultimately use the UN as a tool to hate America and to weaken the West so that they can advance their own hegemony globally.
So most Muslims do not live in environments that went through sort of the Enlightenment and that sort of thing, correct?
Exactly, and that's the problem. Islam is 1,445 years old. I gave a speech in Oxford in October basically saying that as much as I love my faith, Islam is not compatible with democracy. Maybe the faith of God is, but Islam, the brand of today, is not. There's a reason there's no countries that have gone through modernity that are Muslim majority, and the free thinkers that developed Western ideas of our constitutional freedoms and Bill of Rights, and leaders like yourself just have not been able to exist and write and speak in Muslim majority countries. They have blasphemy laws, apostasy laws. So a country, a faith in which 81% of Muslims believe that you're Muslim first before you're British or American, a faith in which 85% think you should be killed if you leave the faith and you're an apostate. That's not a faith that's come to terms with modernity. And I'm doing this work because I love my faith. I have a great relationship with God. But ultimately, I also realized, like Christians did before America was developed and died for, that ultimately the reformation that needs to happen in Islam is not going to happen without lighting a fire under the feet of Muslims and making them understand, what are the freedoms that they have in the West that they simply don't have in Muslim majority countries.
Iran with a nuke. People act like, what's the big deal? Or, we can't stop them. That's just Israel trying to drag us into a war. People are now saying Levin wants to drive us into a war. It's crazy. Why is this a problem, Iran with a nuclear weapon?
Because of multiple things. Number one, Hezbollah, the Shia Islamist militants, have proven, Hezbollah, the Iranian militants, were the founders of suicide bombing. So they did that in Lebanon at the time of Reagan, and before the 79 Islamic Revolution of the Khomeinis basically came on the heels of a lot of that. And ultimately, if they endorse and believe in suicide bombing by soldiers and troops, why wouldn't they do that for their country, their nation? They opened the UN, their president, from Ahmadinejad on, as they give speeches every year in the General Assembly of the UN in September. They say that they hope and pray for the ushering in of the 12th Imam. That is a eschatology of the end of times. So to them, chaos and Armageddon and destruction is something they want to die for. They think they're going to go to heaven. That's not even close to the threat the Russians had. The Russians at least didn't want their own children to die. These people think, and this is why Iran was fueling Hamas, and Hamas is a death cult. So these death cults cannot have nuclear weapons because they'll take the world with them in their anarchy and chaos.
But what do you make of apologists in America who try to turn the guns on the United States or President Trump or Israel as, we cannot by force stop Iran from getting a weapon? I mean, once they get a weapon, we really can't stop them, can we?
Exactly. And, one of the dumbest ideas of the 20th century was Pakistan. The Islamic Republic of Pakistan has a nuclear weapon. We thought it would balance out India and Pakistan. And at the end of the day, it's one of the more extreme countries when it comes to, even though they claim to be secular, they have Hudud laws, Sharia, supremacism is invoked, and a lot of the radicals globally are fueled and created in Pakistan, as we saw with our inability to make Afghanistan work. So, the far left's penchant to destroy the West, they will use any enemy possible, with no care about, at the end of the day, who it is they're empowering. As Code Pink goes to Tehran and meets with the Islamic clerics, all they care about is hating America, hating Israel, and trying to destroy the foundations of who we are ideologically. And that's why, one of the pitches I gave to the Trump administration is we need a commission on Americanism. And that commission will not only look at immigration, legal immigration, and what ideas people should have that come here, but when you look at foreign policy, who are enemies and friends, it can't just be binary. We can't, we've tried to call some of them frenemies. When we work with other countries and allow money to come from foreign countries, now there's a Deterrence Act going through Congress trying to expose what happens when money comes from China and Qatar and elsewhere. And all we're trying to say is universities need to have transparency about where their money is coming from. Those countries are getting something in return for those billions in investments. Why don't we invest in making sure that people that come here share our ideas, believe in Western free markets and liberalism and individualism that undergirds who we are as a national identity, and then ultimately begin to have an offense in our ideas globally, which is why I'm glad to see Carrie Lake at Voice of America and beginning to actually weaponize ideas, because no, we can't win this militarily. I agree. President Trump is 100% right in that the forever wars don't work, but Israel does it right. They do surgical operations to assassinate leaders that are trying to kill us, that are radicalizing thousands upon millions, and they also prevent nuclear weaponry and other things in existing. And at the end of the day, if you look at the Middle East, it's slowly becoming less of a place of dictatorships that are running rampant because they're afraid of Israel. You cannot tame the beasts of these dictators unless they're afraid of us. And the left just wants us to back up. And if you look under Biden, the world was never less safe than it was when no one on the planet cared about what the United States was doing.
Mm-hmm. Brilliantly put. Zudy Jassy, you're a great American patriot. I want to thank you, my friend. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you for all you do, Mark. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Take care. God, I wish you were in Congress. Don't you, Rich? No. Maybe the Senate. Maybe the Senate. Let's see. What would you have me do, Rich? Oh, yes, indeed. Folks, savvy investors, or even people who do it instinctively like me, they understand that there's ups and downs when it comes to the economy. So what do? You don't have to be wealthy. You have some money. You have a pension. You have an IRA. You have money put away. Get a paycheck. Well, what do you do with it? Well, you got to diversify with it, even in small amounts. And what do you diversify with? Physical gold. That's what I do. Gold has stood the test of time, not just for decades, but thousands of years. It's a real asset. It's not a promise on paper. It doesn't get wiped out when markets crash, when politicians make decisions and so forth. No. So adding gold to your retirement portfolio is one of the most powerful ways to help protect your savings. And Advantage Gold is the company I trust. I've dealt with other companies. They're very transparent. They'll answer any questions you have. And they want to do it the right way with you. They'll show you how to legally move your IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver, or parts of it if you like. There's no gimmicks, just solid protection and peace of mind. You can call them right now. 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. It's never too late. Never too late to diversify and make your situation a lot stronger. It's the smart thing to do. It helps you secure your hard-earned money. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MN30 for 30% off your first order. Masa chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey y'all, as a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com. You can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hackers don't need much. Just one leaked password can potentially unlock a treasure trove of personal information, leading to stress, pain, and permanently wrecked credit. Don't be an easy target. Get protection by Aura today. Aura protects your identity, finances, and family all in one powerful app. Get real-time alerts, safeguard your accounts, and block scams before they happen. If identity theft strikes, we help you recover. Stay protected at aura.com/stream. That's AURA.com/stream.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
WMAL.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, huh?
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
When I first learned about the basics of estate planning, it was driven home to me the importance of protecting my family. I recommend using Trust and Will for your own peace of mind. Trust and Will makes protecting your assets easier. Protect what matters to you most in minutes at trustandwill.com. That's right, trustandwill.com. And use offer code MARK and you'll get 20% off. That's 20% off at trustandwill.com. Offer code MARK.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service and is not a law firm. See trustandwill.com for details.
Making sense of your world.
Thanks for taking my call.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news.
WMAL's Vince Colonnades. Weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Holy moly. Bernie the Red Sanders, always talking out of both sides of his tuchus. This is 2005, ladies and gentlemen. This is this year. So our unknown friend Maze or Mozzie on X, this guy's good. I wish I knew who he was. I give him all the credit in the world, but I do my best. Cut 10, go.
Many of the new jobs created in this country today are part-time and low-paying jobs. 30 or 40 years ago, working people who maybe had a high school degree could go out and get a job in a factory. They never got rich. Wasn't a glamorous job, but you know what? They had enough wages and benefits to make it into the
Now,
middle
I'll tell you
class.
what's funny about this. Let me just, as a side point, that was Reagan, and he trashed Reagan too. Right? 40 years ago was Reagan. Guy's a dumb old bastard, be perfectly honest with you. Go ahead.
But since 2001, we have lost almost 60,000 factories in America. And today, when young people graduate high school, they don't have the opportunity to work in a factory, to have a union job, to make middle-class wages. The sad truth of the matter is that we are in a race to the bottom. And not only have our trade agreements cost us millions of decent paying jobs, but they have depressed wages in this country.
So it was 2015, you can imagine. So 10 years ago, he was all for tariffs. Bernie the Red, the Marxist, actually the Stalinist, was all for taxes, but not now. No. Tariffs, I should say. Well, he's for taxes too. Now he's opposed. More from that very speech. Cut 11, go.
The Economic Policy Institute has estimated that PNTR with China has led to the net loss of over 2.7 million American jobs. Go to any department store in America. Walk in the door. Where are the products made? China, 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 Vietnam, other low-wage countries. In fact, it is harder and harder to buy a product not made in China. For all those people who told us what a great deal PNTR with China would be, turned out to be wrong, dead wrong. In fact, our trade agreement with China has cost us almost 3 million jobs. In 2001, the trade deficit with China was 83 billion. Today, it is 342 billion.
And today, it's over $500 billion. So why isn't Bernie out there supporting Donald Trump's program? Because in the end, as I said, he's a Stalinist, and they want power. Power, 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 power. Somebody should write a book on power. Mr. Producer. Because I was thinking about this the other day, America. We talk about liberty. God knows I do. I've written about it. We talk about unalienable rights. God knows I've written about that. We talk about consensual representative government. We talk about that. God knows I've written about that. We talk about separation of powers, divided government. God knows we've talked about that. I've written about that. But what's at the center of all of it? I finally figured this damn thing out. What's at the core of it? Why does it matter? What's the effect of it? How does it come to be? I will tell you that's what I'm writing the book on. Beyond that, I'm not saying anything else, Mr. Producer. It's taking a lot of time, When this program's over, that's what I'm working on. When I get up early in the morning, that's what I'm working on. It takes a lot of time and a lot of thought. If you're going to present something to people you admire, people you trust, and who trust you, that is you, my audience. And when the book comes out, we're going to talk about it a lot. It needs to be worthwhile. Right? Not just a shot in the dark, not just a spit in the pan, no. People say, how do you sell these books? I don't sell them, I talk about them. But people read them and people want them because they know that what they're going to get is something that's really thoughtful. And hopefully, things that you kind of thought about, but you didn't really have an underlying reason to argue for them or defend them or make the point. That's what I try to do. Like-minded people. You know, that's the great thing about this country and about this audience, you. We have every background imaginable here. You just heard Zoogie Jackson. His family's from Syria. He's Muslim. We have Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn. We've got atheists. We've had people call here and say, look, I'm gay, but I'm conservative. And I always say, you don't have to announce your preference. It's okay. You don't need to do that. We have people all over the country, in Canada and Ireland, in England and Israel. I don't know where they call all over them. And yet there's a common bond, isn't there? There's a common bond. And so what these books are really about, when I write them, are humanity, history, philosophy, economics, but it's about, they're not in a vacuum, it's about humanity. How do human beings react to different types of processes? What are our principles? How are we best served? How do these things manifest themselves? To me, this is beyond fascinating. It's beyond the human capacity to figure these things out, but to pursue them and think about them. Use your noggin and try to express certain things and then share them with people you admire and respect. That would be you, the people in the audience. That's a blessing. It's also a deep frustration of mine, but it's a blessing because there is no answer to some things. They're better answers, but no necessarily final answers, at least none that we mere mortals can figure out. So I just bring this up to you. That's what I'm working on. I'm not going to get into any more detail than that. What is it? What is it at our core that determines who we are and how we live? Isn't that a fascinating topic? Which it is, I think. I'll be right back.
WMAL.
Israel's still under attack. This is the reality in the Holy Land, in Israel. Parents taking their children to school, falling to the ground to lay on top of their small children, trying to comfort them as sirens are blaring. The next attack against Israel could be happening as I speak, with little time to prepare, so we must act now, you and me. That's why I'm partnering with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews to help provide life-saving aid and security essentials. Your urgently needed tax-deductible gift today will immediately help provide security essentials like bomb shelters, flak jackets, bulletproof vests for first responders, armored security vehicles, ambulances, more. It's sad, but they're all needed. Join the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews and me in standing with Israel. Please call to make your tax-deductible gift right away. It's desperately needed. 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ. 844-866-IFCJ.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There is a difference between embarrassment and awkwardness. Embarrassment is a response to a personal failing or a gaffe, and the right response is to acknowledge it, own it, and move on. That's according to Hamilton College philosophy professor Alexandra Plakaias. Now, because awkwardness is caused by a lack of social guidance, she says, you can try to anticipate it and head it off before it happens. Alexandra suggests that we go into a situation knowing exactly what you want to get out of it. Also, she says, remember this, there is no I in awkward. Well, what does that mean? That means pay attention to what everyone else is saying or doing. There are likely going to be some signals there that could offer you a pathway out of the awkward situation. Worst case scenario, make a joke, laugh it off, change the subject, and then move on. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Real stories about real people on The Sean Ryan Show.
John Shrek McPhee, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
Been a long time coming, huh?
I thought I should have been the first guest.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, millions of kids don't have the supplies they need. Donor Shoes is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at donorshoes.org.
The Cumulus Podcast Network is pile driving the competition.
I'm parked right next to the TV truck, and it's just Steve Austin's head looking at me. Taking pictures. I did Steve. He hit me back with the WTF kid.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your world.
I don't know where to begin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Thanks for taking my call.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the headlines. Because common sense isn't so common. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
The Mark Levin Show, live and national at 877-381-3811.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by the three wireless stooges, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. That's just a lot of fine print that they provide with you there, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines, plus activation fees, plus. You need a lawyer to look at. You're not even just a slip and fall lawyer. I mean, a good lawyer. At the end of the day, you've paid for the free phone 3 times over. Doesn't sound free to me. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a much better idea and a much better offer. With a qualifying plan of just $35 a month, you get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. Now remember why the veteran, a patriot, decided to found Pure Talk in the first place, to take on the big three, because he knew you were getting ripped off. He said, you know what? I served my country, and I'm going to serve it again. And so we got Pure Talk, an American-based company that hires patriots, founded by a veteran. And this phone has virtually indestructible Gorilla Glass, captures beautiful wide-angle photos with next-generation camera lenses. Oh, yeah. All you need to do is switch to Pure Talk for just $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot, all on one of America's most dependable 5G networks. So dial pound 250, pound 250, say the keyword Mark Levin, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you switch in as little as 10 minutes. There's no hassle here. You know, you used to deal with DMVs or the local tax office, or God knows it. That's not this. That's pound 250. Hello, pound 250. Say Mark Levin for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan from Pure Talk. That's Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in approximately 25 minutes, one of my favorite shows comes on. I tell you, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, this network, ION, I-O-N, or ION if you prefer, they run these reruns of these shows. They all happen to have the prefix of Chicago pretty much, but they're really turned out to be among my favorite shows. You should check them out, 9 p.m. Eastern. Monday, we have the FBI. It's really, really good. Thursday, we have Chicago PD. Tuesday, we have Chicago Fire. Wednesday, we have the Reagan family. I don't even remember the name of the show. I just remember Reagan and Tom Selleck. bastards at CBS canceled the show, but they're still going to have these reruns. Friday, I don't watch it because I don't remember what's on there. Maybe the Jewelry Channel or something like that. Like watching the History Channel. I like those guys that go around looking for stuff. Mike and fill in the blank. Frank passed away. I was very sad. Frank passed away. I liked Frank. And of course we have Pawn Stars, our buddy Rick. That's a great show. Never gets old to me. I love watching these things. I like watching people bring stuff in. Right now I'm writing, so I don't get to watch as much as I want to. But I've almost completed this project. I can't comment on it. I'm so anxious to tell you more. Because look, we're a big family here. We really are. I love you folks. But here I am. Right, Mr. Producer? All right. Here I am. Where else would I be? So you have these anti-Trumpers around the country. They rallied on Saturday. I'm guessing most of them are federal employees who lost their jobs or contractors or whatever, but whatever. These people always have time to, maybe it's rent a mob. I don't know what it is, but they're out there. And we're finding out from various interviews, they don't even know why they're out there. They don't know why they're there. We don't know why they're there, and they don't know why they're there. Well, here's one. At one of these hands-off rally in Maryland Saturday. Hands-off what? It's not the Clinton administration. Cut 16, go.
So what makes Trump a fascist? What makes Trump a fascist?
He just things without
Yeah, talk loud. I don't have my mic on.
I'm not really into interviews.
Sorry?
He just does everything he wants and not following laws or he's a convicted felon, that's all I know.
But your sign says he's a fascist, and I'm just curious what makes him a fascist.
One of the things is that he's trying to control the media, right?
Say that again?
He's trying to control the narrative.
How is he trying to control the media? Doesn't every president try to control the narrative?
They try to control their own narrative, but one of the things that Trump's has done, for example, is the renaming the Gulf of Mexico, and then not allowing the Associated Press to come into the White House. Basically, trying to get.
What are your feelings about him renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America when a majority of the Gulf is in fact on the coast of America as opposed to Mexico?
I mean, it's kind of pointless.
Is it pointless?
Yeah,
that's fascist. Don't you think it could have a positive tourism impact potentially?
Tourism has been down heavily.
So I don't want to get into a tourism debate. My question is, the sign says the fascist Trump regime must go.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious what makes him a fascist. You pointed out that maybe something about his relationship with the media, he wants to control it, but
yeah.
How? Again, you're calling him a fascist.
Yeah. Well,
what makes him a fascist?
One of the core tenets of fascism is creating an enemy, right, and blaming those problems on.
What's that?
So,
who gave you that?
People that gave you the sign. It's a free sign.
Someone gave you the sign, and then they gave you the handout. So are you reading it now to try to answer the question?
Yeah, but I mean,
can I see that? Can you hold that up?
Just not.
No, I'm just curious.
You can have it.
I can have it. All righty. So where did you get the sign?
All the way in the gatekeeper's house.
Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
And that's another one? They gave you 2 pieces of paper? They have that one too?
Yes, we have both.
Oh, okay. So what brings you guys out here today?
Because I saw people hang out with people.
Yeah.
There you go. Highly educated and coherent. Here's another one. It's probably not as good as that one, but it's good enough. Cut 15, go.
And what brings you out here today?
What doesn't?
Can you explain a little bit for our viewers what this means?
Go ahead.
No, you explain it.
Chaptocracy. Government by the least suitable or competent citizens of the state.
He's reading.
Seems to fit, doesn't it?
Somebody gave him a note. Can you believe they vote? Oh, yeah. And this is who the media really views as their targeted audience. The stupid. I mean, they have a right to vote too, right? Stupid people have a right to vote, and there's plenty of them. And most of them vote Democrat. And so there you go. Why are you out there? What's your problem? What isn't? What's the problem? What isn't? Oh. You okay mentally? Everything all right? What isn't? Get away from me. Look behind you. What? Hold on. Pretty funny, Mr. Producer, don't you think? It's almost as funny as Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin's at this event. He's at this event. He's got a lot of great things to say. Cut 13, go.
Dr. King said, we've got the right to protest for what is right without being arrested, deported, or fired.
Hold on. Who's arresting these people? Deported? Or fired? First of all, who's hiring these people? They're morons. Anyway, go ahead.
We have the right to read the books we want.
Yes, you do. You have the right to read the books you want. What's the last book that you've read, Raskin? I mean, you probably have memorized the Communist Manifesto. What's the last book you read? So in other words, when you try and take out of elementary school libraries pornography with graphics, you're apparently preventing adults from reading books. Can you name one adult in the entire country that's been prevented from reading whatever they want? No, we're encouraging reading. But can you think of one? There isn't one. But that's Jamie Raskin. This is what the Stalinists do. I invited him, Hakeem Jeffries. No, it was Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, and Sanders on my shows over the weekend to come on the program, either individually or collectively. I want to confront them on tax cuts for billionaires, the destruction of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid under Trump. I want to confront them. Do you know not one of them responded, Mr. Deuce? But you've tried to reach them and none of them respond, right? Go ahead.
Including 1984 in the Handmaid's Tale.
1984. That's George Orwell. George Orwell thought you were the enemy, Raskin. Go ahead.
The non-fiction section. We even got the right to call the...
We even got the right. Well, here's a guy who claims to be literate. We even have the right, but what do I know, right? Go ahead.
For crashing our economy, destroying $6 trillion of wealth and turning...
You know, it was only about a month ago they were talking about eggs. Remember that, America? Eggs and through the eggs and eggs and eggs. Now it's the stock market. The stock market will come back. It always does. And when it comes back, they'll move on to eggs again or something. Whatever they can find. They can't talk about the cost of abortions because abortions are mostly free in this country, so they won't get into that. Go ahead.
Pay into a 201k.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he has a comedy writer. So your 401k is turned into a 201k. Go ahead.
And the press has the right to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of Mexico.
There you go. Very compelling, very articulate. Don't you find him to be charismatic, America? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. Turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
What's up, everyone? It's Trevor Sikkema here from the PFF NFL Show, here to get you ready for the 2025 NFL Draft. We're dropping PFF podcast episodes 3 times a week with rankings, sleepers, team fits, mock drafts, and more, powered by the same data used by all 32 NFL teams. If you want a deeper insight into this year's class and how it all shapes up on draft day, we've got you covered. Become a smarter draft fan right now on the PFF NFL podcast. The PFF NFL podcast, part of the Believe Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
There's been so many times where I'm like, I apologize that I said that, but that wasn't meant for you to hear.
Feel you there.
How fun would it be to bring in some Bravo celebrities and make our own bracket?
Iconic.
All right, I'll take Dorinda, you take Sonia.
Sonia is who I wish I could be.
You and me both. I cannot be someone in the program. What's PTO?
Pay time off. See,
Oh.
you've never had a real job.
Give them Lala.
It is nothing but honesty.
You guys know.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
Hi, I'm Vince Colonnese, host of The Vince Podcast. It's a show with an obsessive focus on what's good for America. I'm bringing you the truth beneath the headlines of all of the nation's top stories. We feature newsmaking interviews with the top guests on the whole planet. And I'll ask the questions you only dream of other interviewers asking. Do you like being informed, engaged, and entertained? Good. You are going to love Vince.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Scrolling through shows on TV and finding nothing but the same mind-numbing content. Don't waste the precious little time you have with that nonsense when you could be learning something new, inspiring, exciting. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses. Learn about the works of the great C.S. Lewis, the stories in the books of Genesis, the meaning of our Constitution, or the history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's free online courses. I'm personally enjoying the Genesis story. Genesis is a book of fundamental importance for the Jewish and Christian faiths and has exerted a profound influence on Western civilization. Sign up for the Genesis story and all the other stories now for free. Learn some of the work's major narrative themes. Go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's levinforhillsdale.com to register. Levin for Hillsdale.com.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese. Weekdays at noon.
On 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
We back. Mr. Producer fell asleep. Oh. Hit it! Ready, Ring? Just hit to the chorus. We love this song. No idea what it's called, but it doesn't matter. Here we go. Isn't the big basketball game on tonight, Mr. Producer? How does that work? Now? I won't say it. All right. I love this song, but you better fade with that. You might write the Congressman get ticked off. April 15th deadline is exactly 8 days away. Do you have unfiled tax returns? Maybe you don't have the money to pay the IRS. The IRS is more aggressive than ever. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. That I know. Not personally, I'm just saying. Wage garnishments, bank levies, property seizures are all on the table. And they do this when you're not even looking. That's my point. You need to get ahead of this. But going up against the IRS alone is a huge mistake. So take my advice. Call the experts at Tax Network USA. I know there are other hosts out there. There's actors out there. Hawking this group that I've dealt with a lot of these groups. I'm telling you, Tax Network is the best. The best. They know the system. They have an edge, a preferred direct line to the IRS. They know which agents to deal with and which ones to avoid like the plague. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their genius strategies are designed to quickly settle your tax problems in your favor. Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already solved over $1 billion in tax debt. Nobody does that. Tax Network USA can help you too, but you need to move fast. 8 days away. It's almost here, April 15th. Talk with one of their strategists immediately. You can talk to them today with no obligation. Stop looking over your shoulder, stressing every minute of the day. If you're married, it's affecting your marriage. I know. Call Tax Network USA. 1-800-958-1000. Hello. They don't have your number, so you have to call them. 1-800-958-1000. 1-800-958-1000. Or visit tnusa.com/Levin. TN for Tax Network. tnusa.com/LEVIN. Let us go to the call, shall we? Yes, we can. And so I will. Charles, Jacksonville, Florida, on the Mark Levin app. Charles, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Mark?
Very well, thank you, friend.
All right, I have real quick for you because I know your time's limited. All right. On the
To quote Mo of the Three Stooges, take your time, but hurry up.
On the subject of Iran, these are all acronyms for you, okay, including your name coming up. And Iran is insane radicals attacking nations.
That's a good one.
And that's what the letters spread out. Now, Mark Levin is mentoring, ardently, reporting knowledgeably, legally exposing vast, insidious narcissism.
What? You're good, man.
You're going to love this. And D. Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
D. Donald J. Trump is tough, hard ethics defending our nation.
I love it.
Against lunatics descending, justified, terminating, radical, unholy, monstrous predators.
Holy mackerel. Very, very good. Mr. Producer, I just did that.
Elon R. Musk.
Mr. Producer's asleep at the switch here. It's okay, Rich. You're doing fine. All right. Charles, good call, baby. I got to move. Thank you. I'm afraid Charles is going to go through every name in the phone book, but he's good. Come on now, he's good. Let's continue, shall we? George, Naperville, Illinois, the Mark Levin app. George, go right ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your service. You and Bongino, you guys are priceless. I think Rush knew. So anyway, I know your time's limited. I'm calling. I was in commercial real estate for 20 years. I lived in Naperville, Illinois, but I was in Dallas 15 years. I leased Presbyterian Hospital Plano and another medical facility out there. But anyway, I lived in the Village, which you might want to look this up with your background. Mm-hmm. Lincoln Property Company is the big gorilla landlord down there. They marketed the Village as a young singles professional thing. And
wait a minute, the Village being this place that we're talking about, this epic center,
Lovers and Greenville Avenue in Dallas. It's one of the largest apartment communities in the country.
All right, yeah.
And anyway, I think there's a big lawsuit. Lincoln might have even been involved with it. Lincoln. Property.
Oh, you're calling me to tell you somebody might have been involved in it? I can't go based on that. Sorry, Lincoln. I had no idea whether you're involved or not. I don't know where we were headed with that. But here we be, and now we go. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, and truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel. We have your backs.
And you, the American people, God bless you. And guess what? I'll see you right here tomorrow. Now go watch the basketball game. Take care.
Making sense of your world.
Greatly appreciated.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
I love listening to you.
Making sense of the news.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
At the very end of last year, the U.S. Dietary Advisory Committee released guidance aimed at informing the next update for federal nutrition advice. And the headline, as my colleague Sandy Lamont put it, a lowly vegetable rises to stardom. She was writing about beans and their legume cousins, peas and lentils. Now why? The committee found that when one animal source of saturated fat was swapped for another animal source with less saturated fat, such as lean meat, there was actually little benefit to health. That's because meat doesn't have fiber. Beans and legumes do. All the members of the legume family are full of nutrients, including copper, iron, magnesium, potassium, folic acid, zinc, and the essential amino acid lysine. There's also lots of protein and fiber. Shop for a variety of these superfoods. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected. WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9.
Not budging on his plan. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says he's moving forward with his plan to impose a round of reciprocal tariffs this week.
Nobody but me would do this. You know, it would be nice to serve a nice, easy term. But we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade.
The president said many countries have come forward willing to make deals. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox's Larry Kudlow.
What we are going to create in the U.S. through lower taxes, energy dominance, and our deregulation, our rule of law, is going to be, we are the best place in the world to do business.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats will fight the tariff plan.
We use every legislative tool available to us to protect the American people from this kind of economic harm. Every single legislative tool.
Jeffries says the tariffs amount to the biggest tax hike on Americans since 1968. South Korea's trade minister says his government has been considering packages of measures to increase U.S. imports as he heads to Washington to negotiate over U.S. tariffs. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reacting after the Supreme Court ruled President Trump can use an 18th century law to deport suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador.
This decision proves that President Trump and our administration have always been right from the beginning. He will continue to utilize the Alien Enemies Act to remove foreign terrorists and Tren de Aragua members, vicious gang members from American communities.
But the High Court said the Venezuelans must get a court hearing before they are taken from the U.S. President Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act, used to intern Japanese, Italian, and German immigrants during World War II, to deport the migrants. America is listening to Fox News.
Waiting on the vote, I'm Sharon Reardon from the Novak Motors News Desk. Good evening. D.C. is still waiting for a vote on its budget by the U.S. House. As the mayor warns, time is running out.
It is a budget that is already approved. And let me be clear, this is not them providing us $1 billion. These are local dollars.
Mayor Muriel Bowser says she's reaching out to House leadership
with a focus on getting a date this week.
Or the city will have to start making drastic cuts
and at the same time delay next year's budget process with its top priorities.
How to keep our schools competitive and growing? How do we keep our city clean and safe? And how do we continue to grow in uncertain times?
Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Hours ahead of a midnight deadline, the Maryland House and Senate passed the final version of the state budget, which closes a $3 billion budget gap with about $2 billion in cuts and $1.6 billion in taxes and fee hikes. The tax hikes include a controversial 3% tax on IT services, including web hosting and data storage paid by the businesses. Republicans say the budget could have been balanced without those tax increases. And if there's one thing we've learned about President Trump in his second term, it's that he never forgets.
One of the president's unrealized dreams of his first term was to have a military parade downtown, complete with tanks and missile launchers. The idea coming from his visit to the Bastille Day parade in Paris in 2017.
We may do something like that on July 4th in Washington, down Pennsylvania.
It never happened because of price and logistics, but the city paper now reports the plan is back. A 4-mile parade from the Pentagon to the White House on June 14th to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. Local officials are just now hearing about it. No details have been released. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
WMAL News Time is 9:04. I'm Sharon Reardon, and now here's your WMAL traffic and weather from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Starting with the Beltway, the Maryland side, you're good to go in Prince George's County and in Montgomery County. No delays being reported there. Now into Virginia on the Beltway. Clear on the inner loop and on the outer loop. You should be at speed. On 66 eastbound, there is road construction. Roadways down to one lane between Scotland Parkway and 29. On 95 in Virginia between the Beltway and Fredericksburg, no delays southbound or northbound. And finally, in the district, you're good to go on 295, 395, and 695. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com to WMAL Score Mark 7 forecast.
Tonight, clearing, low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and chilly, high around 48.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting Wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. America at Night with Rich Valdez.
Live from the city that never sleeps. 17 miles from Madison Square Garden, New York City. It's America at Night with Rich Valdez. America's favorite late night talk program, featuring interesting guests from around the world and calls from across America. And now, here is your host, Rich Valdez.
Hi there, good evening, and what's up, America? I am Rich Valdez, Valdez with an S. I'm Rich Valdez on all of the social media. Welcome to the Monday night edition of our program. We're live, we're national, it's 7 minutes after the hour, and I'm looking forward to taking your calls in a little bit. Open phones across America, 833-482-5337, 833-4-Valdez. And what an amazing day it's been, right? The tariffs continue to affect Wall Street and everybody else. And I don't mean that in a negative way, as many might think. In particular, I'm talking about Ursula, right? Good old president of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen. She said at a press conference today that the EU is happy to negotiate on on tariffs with Trump, in particular, maybe going 0-0. 0 tariffs from the U.S., 0 tariffs from the EU. Funny. I think that's exactly what Trump has been arguing for. All it took was sticking to your guns. Listen to this.
These tariffs come first and foremost at immense costs for U.S. consumers and businesses. But at the same time, they have a massive impact on the global economy. Especially hard hit are the developing countries. And this is a major turning point for the United States. Nonetheless, we stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table.
Look at that. She's looking for a good deal. She's looking forward to keeping it on the table. All I can tell you is, look, the United States figured out a lot of things, right? Back when it was the 13 colonies and henceforth. Lots of things have been figured out in this country. And the motivation for those, I'll leave to you all to fight about. But I'll tell you this. Back in 1849, there was a gold rush. That was great. And what happened? We started to use that gold as currency. And eventually it backed our money. And then eventually it was silver, gold. And then eventually it wasn't. Right? That's when Richard Nixon said, you know what, we're not going to use this gold standard anymore because we're going to use the full faith and credit of the United States government. And there's arguments, very talented, very educated people have made the argument.
There, how you like that?
That there's not enough gold in the world.
Anybody want to come on my panel?
The money that we have. So therefore we can never have
later. I'm going to bed.
I'm not saying I agree with them. I don't know. I honestly don't know.